Hello everyone, my name is Adelina Quintana and I am an undergraduate research assistant at Texas Tech University. On behalf of the Social Identity Theory and Health Lab, I would like to thank you all for taking the time to interact with our presentation at this 2021 Southwestern Psychological Association Convention. Our research discusses the effects of social media on perceptions of Trump's leadership. The public's preferred sources for political information has recently shifted from traditional news sources, such as news stations on television and websites, to social media platforms like Twitter or Facebook. In response, many political leaders, including our nation's previous President Donald Trump, have used these platforms to remain in constant connection with their followers. This shift to preferred news sources by the public raises new questions concerning the impact of social media on political perceptions and attitudes. While social media continues to attract younger voting audiences, previous research has found that social media is less likely to facilitate the learning of diverse political news. As a result, this may contribute to the echo chamber effect, which can be defined as the phenomenon where people's attitudes are strengthened as a result of viewing news that reflects their existing beliefs. Keeping this literature background in mind, the purpose of our study was to examine the relationship between political party affiliation and preferred news sources in support of Trump. We predicted that Republican support for Trump would be increased while Democrat support would be decreased when news is primarily viewed through social media rather than traditional sources as a result of the echo chamber effect. Through Amazon Mechanical Turk, we were able to recruit 203 Democrats and 183 Republicans for our study. We asked participants to report the top 5 sources from which they receive their news to determine if they rely primarily on traditional or social media sources. They also indicated their support of Trump using a 6-item leadership measure, rating their support from 1, strongly disagree, to 7, strongly agree. As illustrated in Figure 1, we discovered that participants who identified as Republicans were more supportive of Trump's leadership than those who identified as Democratic. These results suggest that Democrats who obtained news primarily through traditional news sources had lower perceptions of Trump's leadership. Finally, we discovered there was no significant distinction between Republicans with varying forms of news sources. Literature background also suggests that those who view traditional news sources may have higher levels of political knowledge, as the information is less influenced by the echo chamber effect found in platforms such as Twitter. Our findings highlight the relationship between news sources and support for political leaders during a time when an increasing number of people rely on social media for information. We believe that future work should further investigate the correlation between news sources and support for political figures. Likewise, variables such as the effect of age, preference of news source, and the facilitation of learning diverse political news should be further explored. Future work may investigate how news sources impact other political activity, such as voting and support for policy. We would like to thank our graduate researcher, Olivia Koljian, for her assistance, as well as the head of our lab, Dr. Zachary Homan. Once more, thank you for your time, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.